Hey everyone, welcome back to Love English Lab, where you practice real English through real conversations that help you feel confident in everyday life. I'm Luna, and I'm really happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Charlotte. If you want to keep improving your English in a warm, friendly way that feels natural, don't forget to subscribe and join our global community of learners.
Today we're talking about something fun, something most people love, and something that gives you a lot of real-life English practice without even thinking about it.
Yes, we're talking about English at the cinema and entertainment places. Buying tickets, choosing seats, asking about times, checking availability, all those small but useful everyday phrases.
Exactly. And these situations are common, especially when you travel or live in a country where English is used for public services. Even simple things like getting a ticket at the movies can feel stressful when you don't know the phrases.
Right. Because even though the conversation is short, it happens fast. The person at the counter speaks quickly, the line is moving, and you have to make quick decisions. That can feel overwhelming.
Totally, and the vocabulary at the cinema is very particular. Things like showing times, available seats, formats like 2D and 3D, subtitles, and even snacks.
Yes. And most learners don't learn these words in school, but they're everywhere in real life. That's why this episode is so helpful.
Another thing that makes cinema English interesting is that it's very polite and service-focused. People use soft, friendly phrases when they ask questions or make requests.
Yes. Instead of saying something direct, like, give me one ticket, people say, could I have one ticket for the 7 o'clock show? It sounds much more natural and polite.
Exactly. And the great thing is that once you learn a few key structures, you can use them at many places, not just the movies, museums, concerts, events, amusement parks, anywhere you need a ticket.
And that's what makes today's topic fun. It's not just about entertainment, it's about real-world English that you can use again and again.
We're also going to talk about how to ask for seat changes, how to check if a show is sold out, how to ask about subtitles or language versions, and how to handle mistakes politely.
And we'll model everything the way it sounds in real life, through conversation, so you can hear the natural rhythm.
Yes, because at the cinema, tone matters. People speak quickly but still politely. They use friendly expressions to keep the interaction smooth.
And the more familiar you are with these expressions, the easier it becomes to order confidently, make quick decisions, and enjoy your experience without stress.
Exactly. So if you've ever felt nervous asking for tickets or confused when someone tells you the available showtimes, this episode will help you understand and speak naturally.
By the end, you'll know how to ask questions clearly, how to respond politely, and how to use the same patterns in other situations.
So, if you're ready to learn real English, you'll use over and over again.
Let's get started.
So, Charlotte, let's start with the first thing everyone has to do at the cinema, buying the tickets.
Yes, and honestly, this is the moment where most learners feel a little nervous. The person at the counter speaks fast. There are people waiting behind you, and you have to ask questions quickly.
Exactly. But the good news is, the phrases are actually simple once you hear them a few times. Everything starts with something polite, like, could I have? Or I'd like.
Yes. For example, you can say, could I have 2 tickets for the 6:30 show? That's supernatural.
And I love that structure because you can change the number, the time, or even the format. You can say, could I have one ticket for the 7 o'clock show in 3D?
Or even, I'd like 2 tickets for the next available showing. That one is perfect when you're not sure about the times.
Exactly, it buys you time. And usually the person will answer with something like, the next showing is at 6:45. Is that okay?
Yes, and learners often don't expect the question at the end, so they freeze. But the answer can be something simple like, yes, that works, or that's perfect.
And if the time doesn't work, you can say, do you have something later? Or is there another showing tonight?
That's super useful, and it sounds polite, not demanding.
Another thing that happens a lot is that the cashier will ask, what seat would you like? Or do you prefer front, middle, or back?
Yes. And if you don't care, you can simply say, any seat is fine, or anywhere in the middle, please.
That's my favorite. Anywhere in the middle. It sounds natural, and you don't have to choose very precisely.
And if you're with someone, you can ask, do you have 2 seats together? That's a very common question.
Yes, and if the movie is popular, they might say, we only have seats in the front row, and you can decide if you want them or not.
And I think learners sometimes panic when they hear options quickly, but really all you need to say is, that's fine, thank you, or, no, I'll take a later showing.
Exactly. You don't need complicated sentences, just clear choices.
Something else that's very common is asking about the version. Some movies have subtitles, others are dubbed, and sometimes you want to be sure.
Yes. You can ask, is it in English or dubbed? Or does this one have subtitles?
And if you need a specific version, you can say, I'd like the English version, please, or I prefer the one with subtitles.
Perfect phrases. And sometimes the cashier will ask you first. They might say, subtitled or dubbed, and you just choose one.
Right? And again, no pressure. Just answer normally.
One thing I've noticed is that people sometimes forget to listen for numbers. For example, if you say 2 tickets, the cashier might repeat 2 tickets for 6:30, right?
Yes, and repeating the information is totally normal. You can simply say, yes, that's right.
And if they understood incorrectly, you can say, actually, just 1 ticket, or actually, I said 6:15, not 6:30.
Exactly. That little word actually is super polite. It corrects the mistake without sounding harsh.
Another thing is payment. The cashier might ask, card or cash? And you can just say, card, please.
Yes, or they might ask, do you need a receipt? And you can say, no, thank you, or yes, please.
One phrase learners love is, can I pay together? Or can we pay separately? Those are useful when you go with friends.
So true. Those phrases work everywhere: restaurants, cinemas, stores.
And then there's the moment when the cashier hands you the tickets and says, enjoy the movie. And you can answer, thank you.
Yes, it's a small detail, but it makes the interaction feel complete.
Something else that happens a lot is when the movie is sold out. And the cashier will say, sorry, that showing is full.
Yes, and you can respond with something like, okay, what else is available? Or do you have seats for the next show?
And I think that helps learners feel prepared, because nothing is worse than freezing when someone gives you unexpected information.
Exactly. And I always tell learners, you don't need to say something perfect. You just need one simple question ready.
Yes. A simple phrase like, what options do you have? Can save the whole conversation.
Absolutely. And once you hear these conversations a few times, they become easy. It's the same patterns again and again.
Polite request, time check, seat choice, version question, payment. That's basically it.
And if you master those patterns, you can handle ticket counters anywhere: cinemas, theaters, concerts, events.
It's real English for real life, and it builds confidence fast.
Exactly. So now that we've covered buying tickets and asking for times, I think we should move to something people always enjoy.
Snacks?
Yes, speaking English at the concession stand.
Let's go there next. So Charlotte, let's talk about everyone's favorite part of going to the movies, the snacks.
Absolutely. And honestly, ordering snacks can be a little stressful for learners too, because there are so many quick questions. What size? What combo? Anything else? It all happens so fast.
I know. And usually the line behind you is long, so you feel pressure to speak quickly. But the phrases themselves are simple if you hear them in advance.
Exactly. Everything usually starts with a question like, what can I get for you? Or what would you like?
Yes. And a clear answer is something like, I'd like a medium popcorn, please. Nice and simple.
And that little word medium is important. Popcorn usually comes in small, medium, or large, so you can just say the size and the item.
Yes. And if you don't know the sizes, you can ask, what sizes do you have? That's a completely normal question.
Another very common thing is the combo question. The employee might say, "Do you want to make it a combo?" Or, "Would you like a drink with that?"
Right. And if you want the combo, you can say, "Yes, I'll take the combo." And if you don't, just say, "No, thank you."
Something else I hear a lot is, "What drink would you like?" Because combos usually include a soda.
Yes. And you can answer with something simple like, "A Coke, please," or "A lemonade, please."
And sometimes they ask, "Regular or large?" That's for drinks too.
Exactly. And if you want to sound natural, you can say, "Regular is fine," or "Large, please."
Another super common question is, "Butter on your popcorn?" Or, "Would you like butter?"
Yes. That one surprises learners because it comes quickly, and the answer can be as easy as, "Yes, please," or "No, thanks."
And sometimes they offer extra seasoning. Things like, "Do you want cheese flavor?" Or, "Would you like any seasoning?"
If you're not sure what they mean, just ask, "What options do you have?" That's a great universal question.
Very true. And one thing I think learners need to hear is that you don't need long explanations. You don't need to say, "I would like to have a medium popcorn because I'm hungry." Just the item and the size.
Right. Concise answers sound more natural, like, "Just the popcorn," or "Just the drink, thank you."
And then comes the famous question, "Anything else?"
Yes. And that one can make people panic because it's so fast, but the answer is simple. "No, that's all." Or, "Yes, I'll take some candy."
And if you're still deciding, you can say, "Give me a second, please." That sounds polite and natural.
I love that phrase. It buys you a moment without sounding rude.
Something else that happens a lot is when you order candy. The employee might point and say, "Which one?" or "Which candy?"
Yes, and you can respond with, "The red one on the left," or "The chocolate bar in the middle."
Exactly. You don't need the perfect name. They understand descriptions.
Another helpful phrase is, "Can I add this?" when you grab something last minute, like a bag of chips.
Yes, that's a great one. People use it all the time.
And like at the ticket counter, the payment part is quick. They'll ask, "Card or cash?" or "The total is $9.50.
And all you need to say is, "Card, please," or "Here you go."
And at the end, they normally say, "Enjoy your movie," or "Have a great show."
And you answer with a simple, "Thank you."
You know, something interesting is that concession stand English is very repetitive. You hear the same patterns everywhere.
Definitely. It's always the same sequence. What would you like? What size? Anything else? Card or cash?
Yes, and once learners memorize that rhythm, the whole process becomes automatic.
I also think learners shouldn't worry about speaking very fast. The employees are used to hearing different accents.
Absolutely. You can speak clearly and a little slower. They understand perfectly.
Another great tip is to listen carefully. Many misunderstandings happen because people anticipate the question instead of listening.
That's true. Sometimes the employee is asking about size, but the learner answers with a drink flavor.
Yes, it happens. But you can always fix it by saying, "Oh, sorry, medium, please." That little, "oh, sorry," sounds natural and polite.
One more thing I want to mention is when you don't know the name of something, you can point and say, "This one, please."
Yes, that is totally normal. People do it all the time, even native speakers.
And if you want to ask about prices, you can say, "How much is this?" or "How much are the combos?"
Very useful and simple.
So overall, ordering snacks is really just a short conversation with clear questions and short answers.
Exactly. And once learners hear these phrases a few times, they won't feel nervous anymore.
And after you have your snacks and your tickets, you're ready for the real challenge.
Finding your seat?
Yes, the adventure inside the actual theater.
Let's go into that next.
So now that we've got our tickets and our snacks, there's one more challenge that almost everyone experiences at the cinema: finding your seat.
Yes, and this part can be confusing because every theater is a little different. Some have reserved seating, some are open seating, and some have both depending on the movie or time.
Exactly, and if you're in a place with reserved seats, the ticket usually shows a row and a seat number, like row F, seat 12.
Right. And the first moment of confusion usually happens when people look at the ticket and think, wait, where is row F? Is it near the front or the back?
Yes, and the truth is, every theater organizes rows differently. But usually, row A is the closest to the screen, and the letters go backward.
So row F would normally be somewhere in the middle, which is a great spot.
Exactly. And there are some useful phrases you need when you're finding your seat or asking for help.
For example, if you're not sure where your row is, you can turn to someone working there and ask, "Excuse me, where is row F?"
Yes, and that's a very natural question. Or you can say, "Could you help me find my seat?"
And they might answer with something like, "It's halfway up on your left," or "Keep going, it's on the right side."
And here's something learners often forget. When you're walking through the aisle, people usually stand up or move their legs so you can pass. And you say, "Sorry, excuse me."
Yes, that's polite and completely normal. People say it even when they're not bumping into anyone.
And if you're trying to find the exact chair, you can say something like, "I think this is my seat," or "Is this seat number 12?"
Oh, that happens a lot. Sometimes people sit in the wrong seat by accident, and you have to ask politely.
Yes. Something nice and simple like, "I think this is my seat. Would you mind checking your ticket?"
That sounds very polite. And usually, people respond kindly because mistakes happen.
And sometimes you need to check if a seat is free. Maybe you arrived early and want to sit down before the movie starts.
Right? In that case, you can point and ask, "Is this seat taken?"
Yes. And if it's free, the person will say, "No, go ahead," or "It's free."
And if it's not free, they might say, "Someone is sitting here," or "I'm saving it for a friend."
And that's completely normal. Just say, "Okay, no problem."
Another phrase that helps a lot is, "Could we switch seats?" Sometimes you want to sit together with someone, but the seats are separated.
Yes, and it depends on the person, but many people agree if the seats are similar.
I've seen that happen often. People say, "Excuse me, would you mind switching seats so we can sit together?"
And that sounds polite and respectful.
Now, another common situation is when you arrive late. The room is dark, the movie is starting, and it's hard to see the seat numbers.
Yes! And at that moment, the best thing you can say is, "Sorry, I can't see the row number. Could you help me?"
Exactly. People understand because everyone has been in that situation at least once.
Sometimes the theater employee will walk you to your row with a flashlight. You don't need to say much, just a simple "thank you" is perfect.
Another thing worth mentioning is the theater layout vocabulary. For example, there's the aisle, which is the path between the seats.
Yes, that's super important. If your seat is next to the aisle, you can say, "I have an aisle seat."
Or if it's in the middle, you can say, "I'm in the middle of the row."
And for people who want the back area, they might say, "I prefer sitting in the last row."
Exactly. Sometimes when you buy tickets online, you can choose front, middle, or back, and each area has its own atmosphere.
Another helpful phrase is, "Let's sit more to the left," or "Let's move one seat over," especially before the movie actually begins.
Yes, but once the movie starts, it's better not to move unless necessary, because people want the room to stay quiet.
And speaking of quiet, if someone's bag is blocking the seat or space, you can ask, "Could you move your bag, please?"
Very polite. And if you need to get out of the row during the movie, you can whisper, "Sorry, excuse me."
And people usually move their legs or stand up a little.
Now, what if someone is in your seat?
That happens a lot, especially in full theaters. The polite way is something like, "I'm sorry, I think this is my seat. Could we check the numbers?"
Yes, you're not accusing them, you're just checking.
And if the person is wrong, they usually say, "Oh, sorry about that," and move.
And if you're the one in the wrong seat, just say, "Oh, sorry, let me move."
Yes, simple, polite, and easy.
The whole point is that seat conversations in the theater are short and gentle. People don't want drama, they just want to enjoy the movie.
Exactly, and with the right phrases, learners can handle all of that without stress.
And now that we've covered seats, I think we can move to what happens before the movie begins.
Yes, the moments when people talk about trailers, screen format, sound, and all the little things that make the cinema experience special.
Let's go into that next.
So, Charlotte, once you finally sit down and get comfortable, there's one part of the movie experience that people always talk about: the trailers.
Oh yes, the trailers are almost like a ritual. People love watching them because they give you a preview of what's coming soon.
Exactly, and there's a whole set of phrases people use during this part. For example, when the first trailer comes on, a lot of people say things like, "This looks good," or "I want to see this one."
Yes, and the opposite too. Sometimes people whisper, "I don't think this one is for me," or "That doesn't look very interesting."
Totally, and learners should notice how simple the language is. It's all short comments, because the room is dark and the movie hasn't started yet.
Right? You don't give long reviews during the trailers. It's just quick reactions.
Another thing that happens often is people want to know the release date. So they ask, "When is this coming out?" Or "Did it say when it comes out?"
Yes, and if someone missed the date, you can say, "I think it said next month," or "I didn't catch it."
I love that phrase, "I didn't catch it." It's perfect for saying you didn't hear something clearly.
It's super useful. You can use it anywhere, not just in the cinema.
Something else people talk about during trailers is the type of movie. They say things like, "It looks funny," or "It looks intense," or "This looks scary."
Yes, those are very natural emotional reactions. And it's great practice for describing impressions.
And when the sound is loud or the picture looks good, people say things like, "Wow, the sound is amazing in this theater."
Or, "The screen is huge," or "I love the picture quality."
Exactly. Those little comments make the experience feel alive.
Another thing people do is compare the trailers to movies they already know. They might say, "It feels like the last movie from that director," or "This reminds me of something else."
Yes. People love finding connections, and that's something learners can practice too, connecting new things to things they already know.
And let's talk about the topic of silence. During trailers, people whisper, but the moment the movie is about to begin, the whole room becomes quiet.
Yes. And a very common phrase people whisper is, "Okay, here we go," or "It's starting."
That's right. And sometimes theaters show a message like, "Silence your phones," or "Please turn off your cell phones."
Yes. And if someone forgets, you can gently whisper to your friend, "Could you put your phone on silent?"
And if a stranger's phone is too bright or noisy, most people don't speak because they don't want conflict. But you might hear someone quietly say, "Excuse me, could you lower the brightness?"
Yes. Soft tone, polite phrasing, and only if necessary.
Another moment people always react to is the ads that play before the trailers. Sometimes people say, "I didn't expect so many ads," or "Here we go again."
Yes, or "They always play this one." It's funny how everyone recognizes the same commercials.
True. And sometimes you get the behind-the-scenes videos, and people say things like, "That's interesting," or "I didn't know that."
Another useful phrase is, "I've seen this trailer before," when it appears again.
Yes, trailers repeat a lot, and you can respond with, "Me too," or "I think we saw it last week."
Another point learners should know is the phrase, "I hope this movie is good." People say it all the time right before the film starts.
Or, "I've heard good things about this movie." Those are natural ways to express expectations.
And if someone is unsure, they might say, "I'm not sure what to expect."
Yes, and that's a gentle, polite way to say you're uncertain about the film.
Another thing is talking about seats while waiting for the trailers to finish. People say, "These seats are comfortable," or "My seat is a bit tight."
Or, "The temperature is perfect in here," or "It's a little cold."
And when someone goes to the bathroom or to buy something before the movie starts, they usually say, "I'll be right back," or "Do you want anything?"
Yes, and the response is usually something short like, "I'm good," or "No thanks."
And something elegant learners can copy is the phrase, "Let me know if I missed anything," which people say when they leave for a moment.
And when they return, the other person might whisper, "Nothing happened yet," or "They started the trailers."
I think the best part of this chapter is that everything here uses short, natural phrases that come from real life.
Yes, and that makes it perfect for learners. These are the things people genuinely say at the cinema.
And it leads naturally to another part of the experience, understanding the different formats, like 2D, 3D, IMAX, or subtitles.
Yes, because choosing a format is a whole different conversation, and people use specific vocabulary for it.
So in the next part, we'll focus on how to talk about versions, screen types, and movie formats.
Perfect. Let's move into that.
So, Charlotte, before the movie actually begins, there's one more thing people usually talk about, and that's the format. Some movies come in 2D, 3D, IMAX, Dolby Cinema, or even versions with subtitles or dubbing.
Yes, and those choices can feel confusing if you're not used to them. But the conversations around them are very simple and very common.
Exactly. For example, when people buy tickets, they often ask, is this the 3D version? Or is this IMAX?
Yes. And the employee might reply, yes, this is the IMAX show at 7. Or, no, the 3D version is later tonight.
And if you're with a friend, you might say something like, do you want to watch it in 3D or 2D?
Yes, and some people prefer 2D because they don't like wearing glasses the whole time.
Right, and a very natural answer is something like, let's go with 2D, or I prefer 3D, it feels more exciting.
And IMAX is another conversation. People say, I love the big screen, or IMAX is so immersive.
Yes. And the opposite too. Some people say, IMAX is too loud for me, or it's a bit expensive.
Exactly. And learners should know the phrase, is there a difference between the versions? That's a great question when you're unsure.
Very true. And then the employee might explain something like, IMAX has a larger screen and better sound, or 3D requires glasses.
And speaking of glasses, another common question is, do the glasses come with the ticket? Or, do I need to pay extra?
Yes, and usually the answer is, they're included. Or, you return them after the movie.
And now let's talk about subtitles and dubbing, because in many countries, you can choose between the original language and the dubbed version.
Yes, and a lot of learners need English subtitles, so they might ask, does this version have English subtitles?
Or if they want the original version, they can ask, is this the original audio?
Exactly. And the employee might say, yes, this is the original version with subtitles, or no, this one is dubbed into Spanish. And when friends talk about it, they often ask, do you want subtitles? Or are you okay watching it in English? And a natural response could be, let's watch it with subtitles, or I can follow without them.
Another useful phrase is, I prefer subtitles so I don't miss anything. That sounds very natural.
And on the other hand, some people say, I prefer dubbed movies because they're easier to understand.
Yes, and both are totally normal. It depends on the person.
Something else people talk about is sound quality. They might say, this theater has amazing sound, or the bass is so strong.
Or, it's a little too loud for me. Or, the sound feels perfect.
And learners often hear phrases like, this movie is great in IMAX, or you should watch this one in 3D.
Yes, people love recommending formats, especially for action movies or fantasy movies.
And sometimes people are unsure which format they bought. They check their ticket and say, wait, is this the XD version?
Yes, or I'm not sure if this is the big screen room.
And the simple solution is to ask an employee, excuse me, is this the right theater for the IMAX showing?
That's a perfect question. Polite, short, and clear.
And they'll answer something like, yes, you're in the right place, or no, that one is in Theater 6.
And here's something interesting. Many people have strong opinions about subtitles.
Yes, some people say, subtitles help me focus, while others say, they distract me from the movie.
Exactly. So you'll hear a lot of small comments like, I don't mind subtitles, or they're helpful for me.
And if the subtitles are in another language, people might say, oh, these subtitles aren't in English, or the subtitles are in Spanish.
And sometimes people complain when the subtitles are too low or too fast.
Yes, they might whisper, the subtitles are too fast, or I can't read them well.
Another natural expression is when someone says, I like watching movies in the original language.
Yes, or I learn a lot of English this way.
That's true. Subtitles and original audio can be great learning tools.
Another conversation that comes up is about screen size. Some people say, this room is smaller or the screen is bigger here.
Or, this one feels more comfortable, especially if the seats recline.
Yes, people love talking about seats that recline.
And speaking of comfort, some theaters have things like premium seats or VIP seats. People say, these seats are so soft, or I love the legroom.
And if you're unsure which version you bought, you can always ask your friend, did we book the subtitled version or the dubbed one?
Yes, and the friend might say, we got the dubbed version, or we chose the one with subtitles.
The important thing is that all of these conversations are simple and repeatable.
Yes, and once learners hear them a few times, the whole cinema experience becomes smooth and relaxing.
And that brings us to the final part of the episode, how to talk about the movie after it ends.
Yes, because that conversation is just as important and full of useful English.
So let's finish strong with the final reflection and the goodbye.
Let's go into it.
You know, Charlotte, after going through all these parts of the cinema experience, I realize how many small opportunities there are to practice real English.
I feel the same. The cinema seems simple, but it's actually full of short, natural conversations. Buying tickets, choosing seats, ordering snacks, asking questions, reacting to trailers, every moment gives you a chance to speak.
Exactly. And the great thing is that none of these conversations are long or complicated. They're all quick little exchanges that help learners become more comfortable with real-life English.
Yes, and I think that's the most important part. Fluency doesn't come from only studying big grammar rules. It comes from using English in small, everyday situations like these.
And places like the cinema are perfect for that. You don't need to prepare big sentences. You just need simple, polite phrases like, could you help me with this? Or, is this my seat?
Those phrases may seem small, but they build confidence. And once learners become comfortable with these real interactions, speaking English begins to feel more natural.
Another thing I love about the cinema is that it connects people. When you watch trailers together, when you react to scenes, when you talk about the movie after it ends, all of that creates conversation.
Yes, and conversation is the heart of language. Even whispering a quiet, "This looks good," during a trailer helps you practice speaking in a natural way.
And the conversations continue after the movie, too. People ask things like, what did you think? Or, did you like it? And that's another chance to practice expressing opinions.
Exactly. Simple opinions like, I enjoyed it, or it wasn't really my style, help learners get used to sharing their thoughts without fear.
And something important we talked about is being polite. At the cinema, politeness is everywhere. When you ask someone to move, when you pass through the row, when you check the seat number.
Yes, and polite English is essential in real life. A simple, excuse me, or sorry, can make every situation smoother.
That's so true. Little words create a big difference in communication.
And I think the biggest message learners should remember is that everyday places, like cinemas, cafes, stores, can be real English classrooms.
Yes, you don't need a teacher to practice. Just paying attention to the words people use around you can teach you so much.
And when learners start using those same short phrases, they begin to sound more natural, more confident, and more fluent.
Exactly. Fluency grows in small moments, not just in long lessons. Every polite question, every reaction to a trailer, every interaction at the concession stand. It all counts.
So to everyone listening, keep practicing English in these everyday moments. Even a 5-second question can help you grow.
And don't be afraid to ask for help or to repeat a phrase if you didn't understand it the first time. That's part of real communication.
Yes, English becomes easier when you allow yourself to learn step by step.
So, next time you go to the cinema, try using a few of the phrases from this episode. You'll be surprised at how natural they feel.
And you might even enjoy the movie a little more because you'll feel more confident and connected.
Thank you so much for joining us today at Love English Lab.
We had a great time sharing these everyday expressions with you.
Keep practicing, keep growing, and keep enjoying English in your daily life.
Until next time, take care.
And see you in the next episode of Love English Lab.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, I'm right. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to